Hello, my name is Randy Weins. I'm the president and designated broker for Weins World Real Estate Inc. out of Red Deer, Alberta, Canada. Now, if you watched my intro video, you already know that. So I'm sorry to bore you with those details, but some regulator somewhere insists that we tell people who we are and what we do. In this segment, it's only a few minutes long, so try not to keep you away from your busy days, any undue length of time. I want to talk about markets, generally markets, and how they influence pricing on a home, whether you're selling or buying. We have all heard the terms buyer's market, seller's market, balanced market, stable market, on in different buzz lingos that we'll hear through media, through real estate professionals, and even just coffee talk around the shop about how's the market doing today, as it pertains to, in my case, residential real estate, but in other cases, be it stocks, commodities, bonds, wheat, cattle. It doesn't, markets are markets. So what makes a market? Well, plain and simple, buyers make the markets. If you've got a commodity to sell and there are no buyers, there is no market. So make no mistake about it that buyers ultimately decide the value of the commodity. In our case, in my case, residential real estate. It's the buyer who will formulate the values of properties. Now, let's assume that you are going to sell your home and you get a real estate professional or two or three to do what's called a current market analysis or an evaluation for you. You will likely be receiving a low, a mid, and a high price spectrum in terms of where that property should be placed in the marketplace and what it will sell for. If you take the high, which is normal for all of us, any of us who are selling anything, we have an expectation our value is up there. Let's assume for a minute that you're going to sell your house and you do the evaluations, you get the three price ranges, and you pick the top. And let's assume for a minute that there are 10 properties similar. No two properties are identical, but they have enough similarities that if a buyer was out there, well, this one would work, that one would work, that one would work, and they're all priced competitively. So, which one do you think is going to get the sale? It's going to be the best property at the best price. Probably the lowest end of the competitive price range. So if you're priced at the top, it's going to get looked at, but isn't going to get sold. So you think, well, that's fine. That buyer bought one, I can reduce my price. I can always start high and come down. Well, by the time you've done that, another property has been listed and come into the marketplace. So now you're back to 10 again. The individual, the new player into the marketplace already has the benefit of knowing the one sale and where it's sold is down here, right? So they're not going to list at the top. They're going to list down here. So now again, the next buyer comes along and all of a sudden that property sells. It's not yours because you're trying to play catch up. You're reducing behind the game. And you don't want to do that because the longer the property sits in the market, the more times you reduce, the odds are you're going to take less when you're selling the property than if you price it right in the first place. So back to markets. There is always a market. I'm going to say there's always a buyer for everything. Why, I'd be willing to suggest to you that a house on 4 wheels, well, in the middle of the swamp, will sell if it's priced right. But it's all about markets, isn't it? You got to have a buyer to have a market, remember, as I said. So what we do in this business is we watch markets and market trends. Market trends are important. While no one can accurately predict the future, next week, next month, 6 months down the road, market trends give us a pretty good indication of what's happening today, what's likely to happen tomorrow, or maybe for the next month or so in the residential real estate business. Now, some factors that affect market trends are supply and demand. And think about this for a minute. If there's lots of properties out there for sale, very few buyers, well, the prices are going to come down, aren't they? There's no buyers, not enough to take up all of the inventory that's out there. And the reverse happens. If there's no inventory and lots of buyers, well, you can ask a premium. So it's important you're tuned into the markets, just as you would if you were investing in stocks, bonds, or any other type of commodity. Another factor that influences markets is interest rates. If interest rates go high or increase, it cuts a number of buyers out because they likely will require a mortgage to buy a property, and the affordability, because they have to qualify for the mortgage, at least in Canada, affordability factors set in. So interest rates, up or down, will influence the value of properties one way or another. Jobs. If you need a mortgage to buy a property and you don't have a job, chances are you probably can't get a mortgage, not without co-signer or some other types of assistance. So in a buoyant market where there's lots of jobs, properties tend to be higher. When the jobs drop off, not as many people can buy, properties tend to be lower. Mortgage regulations play a big factor. How much money down do you need in order to get a mortgage? What are the terms and conditions of a mortgage? Job stability, income, all of those things. So those are all part of the market. So there's much more to selling or buying a home than looking at or having a for sale sign on the front lawn and reading or having a bit of advertising done about a particular property. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes. You need a professional to help you out with that. Now, if you're going to do it yourself as a sailboat owner, I got news for you too. I've got a complete segment coming up later on in this series that will help you sell your home yourself. You don't have to pay people like me these huge commission checks so that we get all rich and things. At least that seems to be what people think out there. But anyway, again, people want to know if you want to sell your home yourself for whatever reason, happy to you. And I'm pleased to be able to provide you with some information that at least help you out, get you going that, free of charge, no obligations, all that good stuff. As an experienced broker, I watch the markets daily. I do graphs monthly. I do graphs quarterly. I do graphs annually. All an analysis because I believe that looking at a graph is easier than trying to read a bunch of numbers. I do them for a reason. It's because I need to know where the market is at any given time. And you should too if you're buying or selling. Some have said I'm a statistical idiot. Well, they're probably right. But you know what? Numbers don't lie. And stats are stats. I even do an annual review of what's happened the past year in our local marketplace, and I'll do a projection or a prediction or a guess of what I think is going to happen next year, and I do those in January. Now, those predictions are mine, and predictions are predictions. If I could see the future, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you now. But anyway, all about markets. And finally, residential real estate markets are local. What happens in Toronto, Ontario, Canada may not be the same as what happens in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, or in Red Deer, Alberta, Canada. What happens in Swift Current, Saskatchewan may not be the same as what's happening in Moncton, New Brunswick, and you get the message. So you will hear the national media, even our Canadian Real Estate Association, even the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, that will give you stats, and they will zero in geographically. They will take a pulse of smaller communities, larger communities, major communities, and say generally what's happening. But it may not be identical, and usually it's statistical and prediction. But so buying or selling, you'll want to consult professionals. I'd suggest you use a professional realtor. It doesn't have to be me, but use a professional realtor. Get some recommendations about the realtor. Ask the realtor some questions. Interview them. If you want to go about it on your own, happy to you. Get as much information as you can so that you can make a conscious decision on what is most families' largest financial decision they'll make in their lifetime. But watch the markets. It's your job too. So, in summary, that's a short about markets. If you need any more information, contact me through my website. Be happy to give you it. And remember, markets are local. I watch the local marketplace, in my case, Central Alberta, and the rest is what you get through the media and things like that, but it gives me enough information to be able to zero in my local marketplace. So I hope this was a little bit helpful for you, and I helped explain a little bit about markets and why they're important, why you should pay attention to them, why you should consult a professional. Hey, thanks for tuning in. You have a great day. Catch you next time.